And so now, we will go on with our program, the Tsimshian-Nisga'a Dancers, led by Louise DeAngeli. Nisga'a Dancers.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Shamorgit, Shimgigiat, Shigadamana, Lomam Shakada Muli Hoxcom, Achtgun, will set Gardish, Shimgigiat. Dignitaries, chiefs, friends, ladies and gentlemen, we are indeed honored to take part in the celebration, and we are thankful to the Heritage Foundation for the work they are doing to pass on the cultures of the three nations on down to the children and their children. I was honored to be asked to sit on the Heritage Foundation's planning committee to sit in with the elders. It was a high honor for me, and I did indeed learn a great deal from sitting with the very important Shimorgits. Every time before we begin our program, the Nisga's scatter swans down to represent peace. They are still doing this today. Whenever dignitaries arrive, people from other villages, the chiefs go down to meet them, and they scatter swans down to represent a peaceful gathering. So now we will open our program by inviting a representative from the other two nations. We would like Chief Austin Hammond to come up and be with us for our opening, and Sylvester Peel to represent the Haidas. I was just informed that Sylvester Peel is not present tonight, so will Vesta Johnson come up to represent the Haida Nation? We usually follow the Swans Down scattering by the peace song.
Chief Austin Hammond, Sigalamana, the Haida Nation, Vesta Johnson.
Our next performance is a chief song. Whenever there's a potlatch, there are specially trained chiefs dancers, and this is where Swans Down is also used. The dancers have feathers in their hats, and when they do their dance, they scatter the swans down. And this represents a peaceful potlatch for all guests that have arrived or the villagers. This is called the biennial. Our next song is called Song of the Waves. I first learned of the song from one of those old cylinder type tapes that our forefathers used to use when they started using these type of things for recording. I never saw him, but it was kind of strange to hear his voice for the first time. But if he knew, he'd be really honored to hear the children doing one of his songs that he sang. This Song of the Waves is a song of merriment. And I was given permission by the Nisga'a to use the song that belonged to my grandfather. And this is how it goes. Our next number is a morals story, as told to us by Chief Baitneck from Ayanch, Nass River, BC. And he gave us permission to use the song whenever the Washingigyat saw that it was time to teach the children moral values. Why they do some things and why they don't do some other things. They tell the story while they're playing, eating, or just sitting around the fire. There are several versions to this story, but this is the one that our Chief Baitneck told us. And it's called Jamaicans, the Porcupine and the Beaver. One day, the porcupine was out walking, and he saw his little friend, the beaver. And he said there, "Hi, pal." And he said, "What are you doing?" The beaver said, "Oh, I was just going to look for something good to eat." The porcupine says, "I know a really good tall tree, a beautiful tree, that we can climb. It's a lot of fun." The beaver says, "But I don't climb." Porcupine says, "Oh, don't worry. I'll carry you on my back." And so they did. He climbed the tree with the beaver on his back, and they climbed out on the longest branch, and then they sat there, and Porcupine said, "I'll roll down first, it's a lot of fun. And when I roll down, I'll call out Andy Balach." Balach is light as a feather, it's moss. And so he started, and then he started rolling, and he started saying, "Andy Balach! down, light as a feather. So he turned around and called out to his little friend, the beaver. He said, now it's your turn. The beaver says, but I'm afraid. Porcupine said, hurry up. I'm hungry. I have to go home. Just let go of the branch. It's all right. And so the beaver let go of the branch, and he started rolling down. He fell hard as a rock. Lop meant rock. That little porcupine had played a mean trick on his friend. Instead of saying Andy Bala, he hollered Lop. Therefore, his little friend was knocked out cold. And that little porcupine was so happy, he thought it was so funny. He started laughing, and he started singing, he got up and he just took off and left his little friend. He was walking around one day. He was just walking around. Little beaver came along and he said, oh, there you are, pal. What are you doing? Little porcupine said, I was going down to the lake to look for something good to eat. Beaver said, good. I know a really nice place where we can swim out to. It's a lot of fun, and there's lots of good things out there. Porcupine says, but I don't swim. And he said, don't worry, I'll pack you on my back. And every time you run out of breath, you scratch the back of my neck. Then we'll come up for air. And so they did. Off they went. They went into the water, took a dive. Pretty soon he started scratching the back of the beaver's neck, came up for air. Then they went down again, deeper this time. They went way down. That porcupine scratched and scratched and scratched. Beaver wouldn't listen to him. Pretty soon he passed out cold on his back. When they came to the island, he just dumped him off. And then he went on his way. Poor little porcupine finally woke up. He got up, he was so miserable. It was cold. There was nothing to eat. There was nothing on the island. And he was on there for a long time. And he thought to himself, I know what I'll do. My grandfather used to sing to the north wind and the falling star. They'll help me. And so he started singing. Crying. The wind started blowing, and he felt encouraged, so he sang louder. Thank you for The wind started blowing really hard. Pretty soon it started icing over the lake. And he felt so happy that ice started getting thick. So he sang louder this time, but instead of crying out of sadness, he was crying out of happiness. And then he started skating ashore to get home, to go home and get something to eat and get dry. He went home on his way. But the beaver was also home in his little home under the lake, in his little dam. He hadn't expected an early winter. It iced over so thick he couldn't get out. He hadn't stored any food for himself for the winter. The moral of the story is, don't play tricks on one another. Don't do anything nasty or say anything nasty to anybody or about one another. And I go even one step further to the children and repeat my own teaching. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. God bless. Our next number is the hoop dance. A long time ago, our people, the Tsimshians, used to wear the cedar bark neck ring. Only the highest and the elite chiefs wore these type of cedar bark rings. And then they taught their dancer to dance and perform with this ring, just like our children know of the hula hoop nowadays. This is what they did with the ring around their neck. It used to go up in the air and they'd catch it. And they were taught this dance when they were very little, and when they're grown up, they became very good at it. These children are still going through the training. So instead of doing the one cedar bark, we're going to just use the two brothers to do the hoop dance. And hopefully one of these days, they'll perform for you when they're older with a cedar bark ring. Our next number is called Glad Dancing, and this is performed also by a wolf representative and eagle representatives. And usually when we perform in other areas other than on a stage, we invite people to come and join us to do some glad dancing. Be proud of who you are, be proud of your culture, the house that you come from. My Indian name is Makalda, which means to oversee gatherings. And I'm the dance leader for this group. Ready? And I'll be introducing the rest of them after this performance. Thank you. And now it's time to introduce the group. In the Tsimshian Nation, there are 3 dialects. There's the Skeena River Gitxans, the Nisga'a Nass River, from which I am a descendant of, and several of the group. And then there is the Coast Tsimshian, which is Metlakatla, Alaska, BC, Port Simpson, along the coast. And so there are 3 dialects, but we understand each other's. And now I will introduce to you the group. The chief's dancers are Frank Watson, Mike D'Angeli, and Ron D'Angeli. Porcupine and the Beaver are Chuck Watson and Kim D'Angeli. The wolf dancers are Zach, Regal, Reggie D'Angeli, and Mike Morrow. The eagle dancers are Chuck Watson and Jacob D'Angeli. The dancers are Carolyn Watson, Kim D'Angeli, Roxana, I always want to call her Roxanne, Roxana Booth Leask from Metlakatla. And Kitty Eddy, she is honoring her grandfather, and he originated from the Nass. And here are the four dancers. And the drummers are, the lead drummer is Arlene D'Angeli, Rosa Watson, and Jane D'Angeli. There are 3 generations on the stage this evening. And of course, yours truly, their researcher and instructor, Louise Barton D'Angeli. Thank you. We would like to leave you with 2 Christian songs that Reggie D'Angeli's aunt had taught us. She sent over 2 tapes and she sang it in Nisga'a. And it's so encouraging to have the elders teach the children the culture. And as you all know, we all believed in a creator, even today, as our forefathers did. And we are going to sing first in Nisga'a, He is nailed to the cross for me, and O Lord, have mercy. Yes, enough. May the peace of the Lord be with each and every one of you. And we pray that we leave you with gladness and blessings in your hearts. We thank you once again, the Sealaska Heritage Foundation, for this gathering. And as I said before, this is a great honor to share ourselves with you, and we're looking forward to the rest of the next 2 days to learn and share with you. Thank you.